All right. Star Citizen's new tech is causing trash to pile up everywhere. All right. Part of persistence, part of testing. This persistence, I notice it. I notice trash in a few places. I do. I'm hoping that that NPCs can get off of their chairs and start doing what it is that we want them to do, which is to work. Quit being lazy. Get to work. Throw that away. As a conscientious citizen myself, I try to throw away all garbage. But there's a lot of messy people out there, a lot of messy citizens out there. So let's have Morph tell us what's wrong with Star Citizen now. You got to understand, I've been doing this for 10 plus years, so, there's always something wrong. And it's always cycles, but there's progress, believe it or not, there's progress.
Star Citizen's brand new persistent entity streaming tech is working, and it's causing a huge trash problem. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, and then at the end of this video, I also have a bit of a request, if you guys are able to, with an experiment I wanna run in the patch. So stay tuned for that, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Okay.
So if you guys don't know, Star Citizen 3.18 released a couple of weeks ago now, and it's off to a pretty bumpy start. A lot of people have been having issues logging into the servers, getting client errors and what have you, 30Ks and so on and so forth. But some people have been able to get in, and according to CIG, most people are now able to log in. They've ironed out some of the issues. And so some people are now starting to be able to experience the brand new tech that was brought in with this patch, persistent entity streaming. And as a recap, for those of you who are new to Star Citizen and might not know, persistent entity streaming is a technology that CIG have been working on to enable the servers to record the locations of entities spawned by both players and NPCs throughout the server persistently between server shutdowns, basically creating an environment that persists for as long as that patch is not wiped, which can go for months. Or if it's 3.17, like a whole year. And since probably most of you guys aren't developers, entities are basically things like your guns, your armor, your body, ships that you fly around, anything that you're able to spawn or move around or that's active in the world is an entity. Even things like stations are technically entities. So what we're talking about here is that if your ship explodes and the wreck exists, it's going to persist there forever. Or if you just park your ship somewhere on a planet, you can come back any day you want and find the ship again with whatever you left inside of it. Now on the surface, this kind of technology seems like it probably already exists, but it actually doesn't. Most MMOs, if not all of them, clean up player entities fairly quickly to save on server resources and to prevent spam that can cause the servers to crash. Simply put, the infrastructure of MMOs are simply not built to be able to handle the massive amount of player entities that can be spawned at one time. The vision for Star Citizen, on the other hand, is of a persistent universe where players can leave things and they can persist for basically ever, for as long as the game exists. And it's pretty cool in concept, but there are some potential issues that CIG are going to have to tackle, and that's kind of why I wanted to make the video today. So earlier I was playing on the 3.18 PTU and I was just trying to test out some of the features and maybe grind a little bit to get some cash before the next wipe, because the money is supposed to carry over along with ships but not items apparently, or something like that. And I noticed that there was just an immense amount of stuff. Like all of these white signatures you see on my screen, these are all either player or NPC ships that have been left abandoned. Now, while this is certainly cool from the perspective of being able to scavenge for stuff, it does have some serious consequences that I noticed. One thing is that the targeting system in Star Citizen doesn't allow you to filter things very well. So trying to filter through these to target something red is going to be a bit of a challenge when you have to go through all of these white icons. You can bind to target only hostile targets, but if you don't have that set up already, it's gonna be somewhat challenging. Then you have the issue of the debris actually...
Yeah, they could make it a little bit simpler, but honestly, the learning curve on Star Citizen is kind of gonna always be that way. It's like a natural filter to keep the kiddos out that love Fortnite, like that's why I appreciate it. I want it to be a little bit more difficult where you actually have to know what it is to do in the game, and you take some time to study what it is that you need to do. The onboarding process needs to be much more streamlined though. And the UI in this opinion here, in Morph's opinion, yeah, the UI could be definitely improved upon for that.
Blocking things like the pads that you want to land on to repair or refuel. That can actually be a logistical issue because you can't move this stuff out of the way. And then frankly, the biggest issue I have with it is just the way it looks. I kind of don't think it looks very nice. It is cool to find wrecks and all, but having player ships and random pieces of wreckage which don't even really look that good because CIG haven't had time to go back and make wreckage look nice.
Dude, this reminds me of what happened in Dual Universe. Same thing happened in Dual Universe, and they had to clean up like all the areas where people landed. The landing ports got crowded, and there should be a way in which this gets policed. As part of game development, they'll figure out a way to police this. Like right now, they're just basically introducing persistence, and they're here's the thing. Yeah, he's right. There's not a lot of people to come back around and clean things up, but this is giving them reasons to find ways to have to deal with this, and this is exactly what they want. They want to test it out. They want to see how many object containers they can have in the spaces. They want to see when it's going to break, how it's going to break. This is part of the game development cycle. It's just the way it is.
It just ends up looking broken and buggy when this is in fact a feature of Star Citizen and not.
You could have an air traffic controller, for instance, or a tower like landing spots that can deal with ships that have been left around too long and despawn, and then put fees anywhere around a certain kilometer distance between the landing field and the player's ship. You could do it that way. There's a lot of different ways you can fix this in terms of ships. It's going to be something that they're going to work on. You will see that. Trust me, you're going to see it. People are going to get upset about that. Right now, they're just playing around with it. It's
supposed to be an issue. Now, in the future, CIG does have some plans to enable us to clean things up ourselves, like with the munching bit of salvage, where we can actually take big chunks of broken
Salvaging
up
will
ship
help,
and
but it won't be
make
the
them
answer to
into
everything.
materials that we can recycle, or even process the components themselves, which promise to be pretty valuable when we can remove them in 3.19. But it's gonna be quite some time until we get that actual munching tech. And in the interim, we're gonna be stuck with this for the next 3 months or however long it takes for them
part of the
to
process.
get to the point where they can actually do something about it and give us the tools to clean it up ourselves.
Okay.
And that was another issue I noticed with PTU. They were only ever able to run a single build for around 2 days over a weekend before they would just refresh it for the next patch update for the PTU. And that left me wondering what's going to happen when this goes to live and the servers aren't being refreshed for weeks or months on end. Best case scenario, this is only 2 weeks of trash, but maybe this server was only spooled up much later after the release. It could only be a week or a couple of days of trash, and if that's the case, that's even scarier. And one other thing I have to wonder is how much this is affecting server performance, because all of this stuff sitting on the planet's surface.
No, they don't have to wonder. We can wonder, but they don't have to wonder. They've got that data. That's what they want. That's why this is happening. They want the data. They need the data to develop the game further. Nobody's wondering at Cloud Imperium. Maybe we are. Maybe I took them out of context. Maybe we are. As content creators, perhaps as fans and supporters, maybe we don't have a clue, but they do. They know. They're developing it. They have the data. That's why they're doing this. This is fucking shit.
Surely requires some kind of, physics calculation, which is going to be hard on the server CPU. One thing that might not be clear from this footage here is that when I was in this area cleaning up some of the stuff that I could pick up myself and loot, the stuff was desyncing all over the place, a problem I didn't have just another outpost away. So this is a tough nut to crack, and I'm not envying CIG here and trying to figure this problem out. My worst fear is that they're going to completely neuter the ability for things to persist just across the board. I would hate for that to—
Eventually they will. Things will pile up. Cloud Imperium developers are not going to be able to keep up with the amount of garbage that's out there, and they'll figure out a way. I mean, it's just part of the process, man. It's just part of the process of game development.
to be the case. It is really cool to find wrecks on the surfaces of moons and planets. It's just about the look of it in certain areas,
I know
like
it
landing
looks finished
zones
in certain parts, but
space
it's
stations.
just still
I think
in
one thing that
development.
they might do is consider allowing us to find ships that we've left somewhere in the universe when we logged off last, so we can go back and pick them up without reclaiming them. That way, if we left some stuff on it, maybe we can get it back. I think that'd be a pretty cool way to handle the issue, but it probably wouldn't solve all of the problems. Again, I don't...
salvaging in a way will take care of a percentage of the garbage. You're going to have a lot of salvagers out there that are salvaging this ship's trash, whatever you want to get out there and salvage. You're going to see a lot of that from players. You're going to see a lot of that from NPCs eventually. It's going to happen dynamically in Quanta. Once, that boots up, need to hear something from Tony on that, please. For the love of God, let's see what's going on there in the economic gameplay realm. But you're going to see it in those two areas. You're going to see, you're going to see around landing zones at starports, bunkers, anywhere there's a landing pad, you're going to see like restrictions. You're going to see some type of tower control or at each location that'll eventually like despawn your shit and fine you. You're going to see it that way around really important points where shit cannot be cluttered. You're going to see NPCs be janitors in the game in like ArcCorp or Loreville or wherever there's player population. You're going to see them do cleanup once they can get off their chairs. You're going to... It's enough. It's okay. It's okay, Pepe. Enough. I know, Pepe. But listen, that's what you're going to see,
MV CIG for having to try to solve this issue.
It's just going to be
certainly
messy
doesn't
for a
seem
bit,
like
man.
an easy
It's part of
issue
game
to
development.
solve quickly. And all of this kind of gave me an idea, which is one other reason why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to run a little bit of an experiment, and I need your help. I want to see how long we can get stuff to persist before the wipe, and even afterwards, so this should run for the entirety of the 3.18 patch cycle. There's an outpost on Daymar called the Eager Flats Aid Shelter, and what I want you to do when you have time, when you log into the game, is to just drop something
all your garbage
off
there
on the interior.
That's actually a cool idea
of this outpost. And what I want to see is how long this stuff persists throughout this entire patch.
Can somebody bring an A2 out there? Can somebody, I'm sorry. Is that still too soon? That was a long time ago, Pepe.
And I also think it would be a whole lot of fun just to log on and check to see what crap shows up.
That's what I would love to see.
So get creative, get wild, have some fun. And
listen, if you're a DG360 fan, I'd love you to take your A2 and get us footage of blowing up all and everything that's there. I'm just saying. DG360 Army, just go there and blow it up, because everybody at DG360, we love explosions, and don't worry about it. It's just trash, man. It's just trash. Blow up the trash.
Drop some crap off there, and let's see how crazy we can get this outpost looking before the patch wipes and before we get to 3.19. What do you guys think?
Thank you. Thank you.
What do you feel about PS now that it's been on the servers for around 2 weeks? Are you having issues with it? Do you feel the same about the trash piling up? Or do you really like that every outpost and space station is chocked full of blown up ships and abandoned?
Listen, it's going to be that way. Of course we don't like it. Of course who likes the trash buildup? Nobody likes that. But we understand here. We understand what needs to happen right now. There's a method to this madness,
Abandoned ships from NPCs and players. Let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, if you like this video and you
it just seems very clickety-clackety to me. It just seems kind of clickety-clackety to me.